Hello, welcome to another exciting edition of Cracking the Rich Code, the podcast. I am John Verico, your host, and I have been waiting to do this particular interview for quite a while. Those of you who are familiar with the Cracking the Rich Code community and have been on the masterminds are very familiar with today's guest. He is the facilitator of those mastermind sessions, or has been in recent months. And I've been waiting to do a one-on-one with this guy for quite a while just to get to know him. And he's just one of the most cheerful, upbeat guys that I've come across. So let me bring on Isaac Garcia and let's get this thing going. There you are, John. Isaac. How's it going?
Doing good. How are you doing today?
Doing great. I'm always, I always say if it were any better, I'd have to be twins to enjoy it.
Oh, I love that. I love it. I'm so glad to be here with you. It's a long time coming and happy it's finally happening.
Yeah. And so we've been in the Cracking the Rich Code community for a while, and you've been facilitating the masterminds for quite a while now. And I was like, he's always so upbeat. This dude has always got a smile on his face. He's always very positive. I can't wait to actually have a chat with him at some point. And we just never got around to getting it scheduled, just a one-on-one chat, let alone getting you on the podcast. So when you finally booked to be on the podcast, I'm like, yes, this is an opportunity to get to chat. So, so glad to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you.
So now you are an interesting kind of guy. I know you live down there in Texas, but yet I don't catch a Texas drawl from you. So I don't know if you've always been from Texas or just wound up there or.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I've lived here my whole life with the exception of 2 years that I actually lived over in Ireland. And so I'll say that I'm very thankful I have not developed anything that makes it harder for people to understand me, whether an Irish accent or a Texan accent. I try to keep it as clear as possible. And I'm glad that it's easy to understand. At least I hope so.
Would that be a Texas brogue? Oh my goodness.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine? I will confess to having kissed the Blarney Stone. So I've been there, done that. And who knows, maybe that helped round out my edges.
I love it. And I've not been to Ireland yet. That's a place that I'm actually looking forward to going to. My wife and I did
highly recommend
visit the UK. We went for our 10th anniversary, which, just to give you an idea, was over 30 years ago. And we stayed in England, in southern England, and we traveled around usually by train to different parts of England. And then we eloped to Scotland to get remarried in Gretna Green, which is a village which was known for romance and elopements.
Wow.
Over the centuries. So that's what we did. It was a very romantic way to spend our 10th anniversary.
It sounds like it. Yeah.
A lot of fun. But we still want to get back over there and we'd love to get to Ireland. But I have been to Texas a few times, but not not where you live. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Let's talk about you, man.
Yeah.
So, you are not only have you been facilitating the masterminds, which you do a fantastic job at, but you're in not one, but 2 volumes of Cracking the Rich Code.
That's
and
right.
So let's chat about, first of all, how did you wind up in the Cracking the Rich Code series in the first place?
Mm-hmm. That's a fantastic story. It was one of those things, and I'm sure many people who have had this experience, those who are in the group maybe, but also others. It was one of those things where out of the blue, I got a DM on LinkedIn. And it's one of those, I get a lot of DMs on LinkedIn. A lot of people send me just, hey, do you want to do this? Do you want to buy that? Do you want to do? And it was absolutely. And it was from Jim Britt. And I thought to myself, this is weird. And then even as we started talking and he started explaining the opportunity and that I might be a good fit for it, I thought this is really strange. And it felt like it didn't feel like just a hey, come join us. It felt like I get where he's coming from and what he's doing. And he gets where I'm coming from what I'm doing. And it's that sense of knowing that intrigued me beyond simply saying, oh, this is just, one more of those many spam DMs that I get. And in the conversation, we actually got to talk. I said, there's something here that that I want to be a part of. And it's being a part of that has really enriched my journey since I've been involved, and something that I love sharing with others. And I love to see new people coming in, because I see that same, like, is this where I belong? And then they introduce themselves, and I think to myself, you absolutely belong as a part of this group.
Absolutely
Welcome
belong
to the
here.
family.
Yes.
Yep. So
It's
that's
so
how I got
true.
hooked.
And then those discovery calls,
Yes.
uh,
Yes.
and we get a zillion of them on LinkedIn, and I keep getting, I don't know how many I get. We can grow your business, we can get you all these leads, we can
Yes.
uh, promote you here and there. But there was something different about Jim when he reached out, and
Yes.
it makes our credit card just slip out of the wallet.
And for a good investment, I will say, easily the best ROI I've gotten from any DM I've ever received on LinkedIn.
Yeah,
For
exactly.
sure.
Exactly.
Yep.
It's good stuff. It's good stuff. So he
Yes.
got you into volume 17,
Yes.
and I was intrigued by the title of your chapter
Mhm.
in volume 17. It was
Mhm.
It's Just Not Working Anymore, which
Yes.
immediately got my attention. And I know
Yes.
it's kind of a negative focus kind of a
Mhm.
title, but it's like,
Mhm.
wow, I think we all have run into a point in our career, and
Yes.
especially as entrepreneurs, where we
Yes.
find that what we think was working originally just
Yes.
isn't working anymore, or what we
Exactly.
thought was going to work just kind of hits a wall. So let's
Yes.
talk a little bit about it's just not working anymore. Kind of what your intent was there, and how you came to your own epiphany when you're getting ready to, and why you
Ye
wanted to share it.
Absolutely, John. There's, I see across so many different domains. This is not just limited to business, and executives, or entrepreneurs. It's also limited to somebody who wants to take up running or guitar or a new language. It's a almost universal experience that we have, that we get excited about an idea enough to start something new, whether it's this new sales effort or this new practice I'm going to do. And we get excited, we get fired up, and we have this initial, wow, I can do this. This is great. I'm winning. It's exciting. I'm getting a return. And then almost every time, we then have a dip of our experience, whether it's an emotional heaviness or a tiredness or a, can I keep doing this for how many ever years I'm going to do this for? And almost everybody hits that wall. And what I've found is, it's not a capability problem that people are experiencing. A lot of people say, maybe I'm just not cut out for this. Maybe I don't have the capability to accomplish whatever I set my mind to.
Right.
Often it's a clarity problem. It's a maybe I knew why I started, or had a sense of why I started, but losing sight of that along the journey when you need it most. And when you need it most is when it gets hard. And so what I was trying to capture with that chapter is that feeling of, I've started and I loved the start, and I maybe started with energy, but right now it's just not working anymore. I'm doing the same effort. Maybe I'm putting in more effort, but I'm not seeing results.
Yeah.
What has stalled, and why am I not getting what I expect from my
Yeah.
efforts? And I really addressed a lot of the kind of psychological and even some of the systemic things that we need to think about and process to help us get out of that place of feeling like it's just not working anymore. Because the reality is, if you stay there, like you said, it's kind of a negative chapter title. If you stay in that spot, it's just not working anymore, you will not, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. If you stay there, you will eventually opt out, or worse, you'll stay there and be miserable and not achieve the results that you set out to originally
Oh yeah.
achieve. Both of those failure modes hurt my soul, to see people who are trapped because they don't need to be trapped. Often, all it takes is someone to, whether it's shining a flashlight or whether it's shifting the gaze just a little bit. Hey, look over here a little bit, reframing, getting that new clarity. And they say, okay, I'm back at it.
Right.
I see my next step. I'm ready to keep going.
And that, first of all, we both made reference to the fact that it's kind of a negative title, and that is, we do that in honor of Rich Kozak, who teaches everybody to be more positive, but but it's so true, because we all do
Yeah.
hit that kind of a wall, and all of a sudden it's like, maybe I don't feel like having that meeting today. I don't feel like going to this time.
Yes.
All these kinds of things. It's like, okay, why did your excitement die
Mm-hmm.
off?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What happens to us that makes us not feel that same um, enthusiasm
Yeah. That's a
anymore?
phenomenal question, because the reality is the way we work, and I say we humans, the way we work as humans, when we see, and this is amazing, John, I'm sure you're aware of this, but when we see either success in our endeavor, I have an expectation or an assumption, if I do this, then I will get that. And when we see success for us, or we see success in someone else, hence the power of the mastermind, we see someone else succeeding, we get this burst of hope. It's this burst of, I can do
Yes.
that. This is going to continue. There's more gold at the end of the rainbow. Good times are coming. But when we see, I tried and I didn't get results. I tried and I didn't get results. I tried and I didn't get results. Or even see someone else, they're trying, they're not getting results. They're trying, they're not getting results. It can create this sense of,
Why am I doing this?
what's the point? And being trapped. I remember a story my dad told me. He grew up in a very small town up here in this area, and he one time had a job, flipping burgers, and he said that while he was there flipping burgers, he thought to himself, "This is it. This is the next 50 years of my life. I'm just going to be flipping burgers in this small town forever." And he said that really depressed him for a while, until he realized, no, my tomorrow can be different. And so even as a kid, he told me that story, not
Yeah.
understanding the psychology of it, but he was just sitting there flipping burgers for a while, thinking, this is never going to change. This is my reality for the rest of my life. And then realizing, no, wait, I get to control my thinking, which we all recognize now. I can choose a different thought, choose a different path. And what do you know? He went on a different path, and thankfully I'm here, and he impacted a lot of lives doing something different. He didn't stay there flipping burgers for 50 years. And so we have to realize we have power and agency to assess our situations where we feel like it's not working, and then move out of them. And that's an incredible power. And again, it saddens me when people have surrendered that, and who say, the circumstances are just too hard to overcome. I won't be able to make it. Things are stacked against me. And back to seeing other people succeed. That's why it's so important.
That's what holds us back so
Oh,
often,
all the time,
is
all the
is
time.
we're afraid to make that change. Yeah.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
Well, I think Jim has said in some of the masterminds, he says, like the when you're contemplating like a new venture or whatever, the first 10 things that come to your mind are the last 10 times you failed.
Yes, yes, yes,
And so automatically we start saying to ourselves, this is not going to work. I'm not good enough for that.
right,
I'm not cut out for that.
right.
And you said it. And you talked about expectations, and I think that's where we all have the biggest challenge, right?
Yeah.
Is things don't meet up to the expectations, and a lot of times we are trying to match someone else's expectation
Yes.
of what success is, or someone else's version of who we should be,
Mm-hmm.
or where we should be at certain points in life.
Mm-hmm.
And so if we're not at this perceived version of ourselves, or a perceived version of where we should be, then we start to, kind of downplay our own selves, and we hold our own selves back.
Yes, absolutely.
But I wanted to mention
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say that clarity is when I say clarity, one of the things that I think about is, I love working with people to define clarity of objective, right? Clarity of where are we going, or even where are we right now. It is also important to have clarity
Oh,
around
that's a good one too.
your why. Why am I doing this? And clarity around, who am I? Not just what people are saying of me and what people are expecting of me. You need clarity for all of it. So you're spot on.
Yeah, no, exactly. So there's something called Vroom's expectancy theory,
Ooh.
which you may have heard of. Victor Vroom was a professor, I think, at Harvard a zillion years ago, and his basic premise was that people will take
Mhm.
action based on the expectation of the result of that action.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So we know that if we perform to a certain level, we should achieve
Yes.
X. And then what it comes down to is an evaluation of whether or not X is worth our time
Yes.
and effort. That is that reevaluation that comes in, that relooking at the why.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, hey, can you work a couple hours overtime on Saturday? And you'll this is what I'm offering, this amount of money for that overtime.
Yeah.
And you'll say, you know what, I can use that extra pocket
Mhm.
cash, I can work.
Yeah.
Or you can say, you know what, I really would like to spend time with my kids on Saturday.
Yes.
And so which one has more value to you?
Yes.
And that's the value-based decision that you ultimately
So
make.
good.
But I think we all run into that clarity issue
Yes.
in trying to figure out, why are we doing this, and what do we expect to get out of it, and why
Mhm.
do we want to? Why do we think we want to achieve that?
Yes.
And so I have to ask, how did you wind up? Because you're actually quite young, comparatively at least. How did you come to this epiphany, this
Mhm.
this perspective,
Mhm.
to understand how important this kind of clarity is?
Yeah, that's a fantastic question. I have been very blessed to have a number of things that came together for me that provided me visibility into the world of psychology, the world of coaching, the world of interpersonal communication, and the power of thoughts. That really, when I look back at how I got here to where I am today, it's a very meandering journey. And you mentioned our friend Rich Kozak. The first time I met him, and he said, "Explain what you do to me." And I gave him a probably 10-minute introduction, and at the end he said, "I still don't know what you do." So it's been a journey of
That's rich.
uncovering. Yeah, it's been a journey of uncovering. I'll say that for me, the pieces that have come together is it really centers around coaching. And I did a fair amount of nonprofit coaching, a fair amount of corporate coaching, fair amount of life coaching. And in looking at and thinking about coaching, so mainly individuals, and then applying what I've learned from my business experience, so a whole lot of systems thinking, complexity theory, flow. I was an agile coach for a serious amount of time during my career, and seeing all those pieces kind of come together, it's like, okay, there are individuals. You can coach the individual, that's one thing, but if you zoom out, there is a system. Just like we were just talking about when we say clarity,
Mhm.
you don't just need clarity on where is this one person going. If you zoom out, there's also clarity about that individual, there's clarity about this, there's clarity about that. And I think having that systems.
And all the individuals on the team.
Oh, let's start talking about how people interact with one another and the
Oh,
influences that
perfect. Yeah.
has. And so you want to talk about massive complexity. The most complex entity is you take one person and then put another person working with them, and now you have higher complexity. And of course, in companies that have hundreds and thousands of people, it just scales astronomically. And so all of my I'm very blessed that I didn't get stuck in, oh, I learned about coaching and I'm focusing on the individual and that's going to be my only focus. Or I'm learning about
Right.
scale and systems and operations and I'm only going to focus on the big picture. I've been really blessed to be able to get a learning and an education going up and down that chain, scaling from how do we make this work from 500 people to how do I talk to the one and help the one, and then now how do I work at the 10, and then now how to go back to the 500 level, and being able to operate in those different domains. And I'll answer your question directly. That's been my journey. I could not have the experience I had if not for the people like you, people like Jim Britt, people like Rich Kozak, people that I'm able to learn from, the books that I read, the courses that I take. Because in my lifetime, and you made a great point, younger relatively, I could know what I know. And I'll go back to my dad. As a kid, he said, "You know what? You'll always know what you know. If you're going in to a bakery and you're working with a baker, you're going to know what you know about baking. But if you listen and you ask questions and you're curious, you have the opportunity to learn from someone who
Yes.
knows a lot more than you." And so that has been a guiding
So
philosophy in
perfect.
my life. You know,
Yeah.
podcast hosting. John, you've got a lot more experience than me. I would love to sit and just listen to you explain your theory and your approach to doing podcast hosting and learning from every person you come across. There's something they're excited about, they've spent more time doing than you. And as long as you're curious and as long as
Yes.
you ask good questions and you listen, you can take from them. And what I found that does for me, it accelerates your growth. You could grow at the Isaac rate of growth, or you could grow at the Isaac plus John plus Jim Britt plus Rich plus these books that I'm reading, and you could accelerate even faster. And so I'm blessed to have the experience that I've had, but I'm also very blessed to have the teachers that I've been able to listen to, sit at the feet of, and really learn from, that I believe has really helped accelerate my journey to where I am today, and hopefully to where I'm going in the future.
That is brilliant, and I guess we both had great fathers in that aspect. Because I learned from Dad, who was a blue collar guy
Mhm.
his whole life, but he basically said, when something is, if I didn't know how to do something, then I wouldn't have gotten that job. So I learned how to do it so that I could get that job, so that I could
Amazing.
do this. And
Amazing.
he told us, learn something new every day.
Yes.
Just don't stop learning.
Yes.
And don't say you don't like that until you've tried it. Don't say you don't like that food until you've tasted it, and don't say you don't like that person until you've given them a chance.
Yes.
And wow, and basically what we learned from that is that we can learn from everyone around us. Everybody has something to
Yes.
offer, and even if it, whatever it is, it's just
Yeah.
I think we were both very fortunate. I would have loved to know your dad, and I think you would have loved to know mine.
Absolutely.
But
Yeah. John, I want
yeah,
to tell you a quick
I
story.
really love
When I
this.
was in college, I was writing for our college newspaper, and they assigned me you have to do a weekly,
Me too.
a weekly whatever. You got to find something and do it weekly. And I thought to myself, oh my gosh, what am I going to
Mhm.
do weekly? I don't know what I could possibly write about on a
The
recurring
weekly
basis.
column, right? Yeah, I love
Yeah.
it.
And I came across this idea. There used to be an old TV part of the nightly news, a segment this guy would do called Everybody Has a Story. And what he did is he would
I
throw
love
a
it.
dart over his shoulder or have someone do it, hit a map. He would drive to that city. He'd take out a phone book. He'd touch a name. He'd call them, and then he'd interview them. And the segment was Everybody Has a
Mhm.
Story. And so I started doing that in college, where I would randomly pick a letter and then I'd go find a student's name and I would go contact them and say, tell me your story. And I would just interview them. And here's what's amazing, John. Everybody has a story. I
Has a
never
story. Yeah.
left one of those interviews without loads to write about that was interesting. And for real, you did that, or you have that story. And it reinforced for me in college, everyone is interesting, everyone is unique, everyone has life experience. Listen, ask good questions and listen, and you'll get a lot of value out of the time you spend with people.
Isn't isn't that beautiful? That is absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
Uh, I had a weekly column in college as well, and
Hey,
mine
high
was,
five.
of course, I'm going back. Do you remember back in the day? I mean, it's before your time, but there was a show called Welcome Back, Kotter.
I have not heard of that. No, I need to look it up now. Welcome back, Connor.
Oh my goodness. It's where it's where John Travolta started.
No way.
Yeah. So, but anyway, there was a character there. His name was Juan Epstein.
Okay.
And he was always like, late to class and things like that.
Yep.
And he would always bring a note from his mother as to why he was late.
Okay.
Right. It was, oh, please forgive, Juan for this and that and whatever. Signed Epstein's mother.
I love it. I love it.
Which, and so I started a column in college called Signed Epstein's Mother, and then
Brilliant.
stories about how people tried to come up with excuses for why they couldn't achieve things, and then kind of unraveled
Yes.
the excuse.
Yes. Wow.
And then, and then bring that back to, how you can achieve without.
I'll tell you what,
But anyway,
that idea has legs. You could write a weekly LinkedIn post about all the excuses people give in the professional world, right? It
for
still
everything,
happens today.
for everything.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, Isaac, as what usually happens in here, we are rapidly running out of time. We're at 24 minutes and change already, right?
Yeah.
So I want to tell everybody, if you just like tuned in the middle of this, go back and listen to the beginning. Isaac is absolutely brilliant. There's so much to learn from him, and so much more that I want to learn. And we've talked about briefly that he was in volume 17 of Cracking the Rich Code with a chapter called It's Just Not Working Anymore. But then he came back again in volume 18, wrote a chapter called Unlocked and Unblocked, The Power to Move, Lead, and Rise. We're not going to have time to get into all of that, but I want to encourage people to get out there and buy those books and read those chapters, because there's a lot of wisdom to be shared from this young, brilliant mind here.
Thank you.
Isaac, this has been a great conversation. I want to say, besides going to your to read your chapters in the book, we want people to connect with you on LinkedIn. Absolutely. So they can learn more about what it is that you do. Isaac is very responsive on LinkedIn, so you definitely want to reach out to him there. But let's just, in these last couple of minutes that we have, Isaac, what are some words of wisdom that you would want people to come away with, either from reading your chapters or just some advice that you'd like to just share?
I love that. And I'm going to say two things. The first one is take a moment to focus on and develop your own clarity. And what I mean by that is, we have distractions galore. Many people are wall to wall. Many people are probably watching this while multitasking, doing something else. Take a moment, find that moment where you ask yourself some questions to get to better clarity about who you are, what you want, where you're going, where you are now. And of course, you can find great coaches and great content to help you navigate and ask some of those questions. But whatever you do, make sure you take the time, because taking that time is similar to sharpening the saw, right? You're going to take the time to do that, and then you're going to be way more effective on the other side. Take time to think about clarity in our busy world. And then the second piece being, make sure you stay curious. There is so much learning and so much opportunity in our world. Stay curious, ask good questions, and realize tomorrow can and will be different from today. If you ask questions, you keep learning, you keep growing, you're going to find yourself having an effective, exciting, I'd say rewarding life. So I hope that for everybody who listens to this, find your clarity and keep learning, keep growing. And if I can come along and help along the way, happy to do it. Please do connect. I love connecting with people. And John, this is just, I love talking about these kind of things. And thank you for this opportunity. It's been so much fun.
It is, and it's been a great conversation. So everyone, just to remind you, check out Isaac Garcia's chapter in Cracking the Rich Code volumes 17 and again in 18. Connect with him on LinkedIn. He is Isaac Garcia Pro on LinkedIn. And listen to this podcast again and again, because there's so much gold in here. Isaac, it's been a fantastic conversation. I'm so glad we finally had a chance to have this conversation, and we look forward to doing it again. Maybe we'll do another episode with you.
I would love that. I would be down for it anytime.
Yeah, so we focused on 17. Now next time we'll focus on
That's
18.
A great plan. Let's do it.
Let's see what we can do. All right. Thanks again, everyone, for listening. Thank you, Isaac, for joining us today. And everyone, just keep listening to the Cracking the Rich Code podcast and reading those Cracking the Rich Code books. There's so much to learn out here. Thank you again. Take care. And we'll catch you on the next